Okay, any questions come up during the break or before the break or at any time? Cool. Okay, so the next thing, like I said, is going to be doing stuff with handlebars. So handlebars is like ERB, but for Express. So the first thing we're going to do is npm install dash dash save express handlebars.
Come on, really?
Uh-oh.
Seriously?
Jerry. So no need to do this along with me unless you want to. I'm just installing it. And when I mentioned it installed a whole bunch of other dependencies, this is what I'm talking about. So these are all the dependencies that whatever it is we're looking at. Handlebars has all of these other dependencies that are all now inside my node modules folder. So this is getting pretty full pretty quick, which is why we want to ignore it and not push it up. Okay. So whenever you npm install something, it's a pretty good bet that you're going to want to require it as well. So I'm going to require express handlebars. And I'm setting it to a variable called HBS. This can also be whatever you want. This variable can be whatever you want. You can call any of these variables whatever you want. I'm just writing HBS because it reminds me that it's handlebars, and actually writing handlebars takes too long. Okay, so now that I have that, now I can add in a view. So I'm going to create a folder called public. And then inside that, I'm going to write layout-main HBS. And I'm going to be going pretty quick here. In here, I'm going to be putting in just some boilerplate HTML, head, title, when president, body, you getting everywhere. There you go. When president. And then this funny looking thing. I'll talk about what that funny looking thing is in a second. First, I want to get this working, then I'll come back to that. So what I'm making here is a welcome page. So I'm also going to create app-welcome.hbs. And then in here, I'm going to say href candidates. Which candidate will you pick? Okay. So this was me just setting up. I haven't really done anything with handlebars yet. I'm just getting these guys set up, these views set up for when I want to do something with them. Anyone want to take a guess at what the equivalent of this body thing is in Rails? Adrian? Yeah, exactly. So this is the handlebars equivalent of yield. This is the only handlebars thing you're going to see that has 3 curly brackets. I'm not sure why it has 3. Pretty much everything else is going to have just 2. So this is the only one that's going to have 3.
Is it because it can be used with Angular and they don't want to use?
No, actually, but I see where you're coming from. That's something that we might talk more about later, because that comes up a decent amount. Okay, so I set up some views for handlebars. Now I need to tell handlebars and Express to actually use them. So I'm going to do 2 very sort of boilerplate things here. So these aren't things where it's like, oh yeah, following super logic. It's just boilerplate for setting up handlebars. The first one is going to be app-set-view-engine HBS. And so this is telling Express your view engine. So a view engine is something like ERB. That's a view engine for Rails. The view engine for this is going to be handlebars. And then app.engine.hbs. I'm going to set all this stuff up, and then I'm going to talk about what it's doing. xname.hbs, partials dir, views. Oops, shit, I should have called this views. Yeah, my bad, I take it back. This shouldn't be called public, it should be called views. Sorry. Layouts dir, views, and default layout is layout main. And then at the end of all this, I'm going to change this res.send to being res.render app welcome. And now when I fire up NodeMon, everything worked properly, I should see this right here, this which candidate will you pick. So let's see if I do. And there it is. Okay, cool. So the first thing is this body thing works the exact same way as yield. It's just as if I were to copy all of this and paste it right in there. The exact same thing. So it's just sort of the entry point into which things are going to be inserted into this HTML. Now let's look at this stuff right here. So I mentioned that the view engine, that's the thing that Express uses to make views show up. Beyond, like you could just stick with HTML, plain old HTML, and then you wouldn't need a view engine. But here it's saying, no, I want to do something different from just plain old HTML. I want to use handlebars. So that's where that's coming from. Let's see. So this X name, what does that stand for? Brendan?
Extension?
Yeah, exactly. So if I were to change app welcome to, well, we'll just do wombat, then I would need to change this to what? Exactly. Yep. So it's saying what all of your handlebars files are going to end with. They're all going to end with HBS. Partials, dear. So this is a partial. It's called a partial because it's not a complete HTML document. It doesn't have doc type, body, head, blah, blah, blah. It's just a partial piece of an HTML document. And so this is saying where handlebars should look for those partials. Same thing with this layouts directory. So the layout is the thing into which all of those partials are going to be inserted. So a partial is inserted into a layout. And it's telling it, look for all of your layouts inside this views folder. You can probably tell from this that we could put these things in different folders if we wanted to. Like I could have my layouts in a folder called layouts, and my partials in a folder called partials, or wombat and fruitcake, whatever I want to do, I could put them anywhere I want. So I can customize handlebars to be that way. But just to keep things simple, I'm just going to put them all in this views folder. And then the last thing is which layout you want each of these pages to be used with, each of these partials to be inserted into. You can have multiple layouts, but this is a way of just creating a catch-all for every page in here. And then what did I change here from where it was before? Well, now it's res.render. What was it before? Yeah, it was res.send. So if I change this to res.send, any guesses as to what I'm going to see when I refresh this page?
The word app welcome.
Exactly, the word app welcome, and there it is. So res.send just takes a piece of text and makes it show up in the browser. Res.render specifically says, look for a partial called app-welcome, and then insert it into this layout right here. So if I were to change this guy to fruitcake, then I would change this to what? Fruitcake, exactly. But I'm not going to do that. Okay, and there I go. Yeah, Ryan.
I think I might have missed it. What does the app.set do?
So app.set, it sort of configures things for the entire application. This is the only thing we're going to do for right now, but Express has some different configurable things in it. One of them is the view engine. So this is saying, set the view engine to be handlebars. Configure the view engine to be this particular thing.
And it knows HBS is handlebars?
Yes. Yep.
So kind of touching on the same thing, just to know what, in this case, is those two, but what specifically goes in there, like so the first part where it says view engine, that's a what?
So the view engine is just the thing it uses to render views. So ERB is what Rails uses to render views. Handlebars is what we're using here to render views.
So view engine should always be there.
Yes. Yep.
And then the second one is telling them pretty much what to expect in that engine one, which is our extension.
Yep.
And then on that second one is how we define that extension.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And then just out of curiosity, like when it says app.get and it has a slash, would that be similar to how we do our different states in Angular or our different views in Rails, where the next one would be app.get /
index
or something like that?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Which partial we want to show for that.
Yep, so this is just like This is both the router and controller right here. That thing. It's going to play the part of both the router and controller. We only have one route right now, so I'm not going to get into that too much yet, but down the road we'll have more. Right?
And so, you just kind of covered what we're doing, passing that object into HBS, but what is that HBS method that we're passing that object
It
into?
comes from right here.
Yeah, and the default method, like, or not default, but just so HBS with parentheses, what is that?
So here, let me change this to, I'll just call it handlebars. So it's just like how whatever is returned when you do require express is a function. Whatever is returned when you require handlebars is also a function. You know what? Let me just console log it.
Oh, so it's a function, not an object.
Right. There we go. Yeah, you can see that the first thing, there's not a lot in it, but the first thing is this function right here. It's a constructor function. Just like how express is a constructor function. You shouldn't really need to do anything with it, and I really don't want you to worry about it too much, because you can just sort of take this as boilerplate. Every Express app is going to start off with something like this.
Is that default or
Hold
what is
up.
it pulling out?
John raised his hand.
Sorry, just to clarify, the HBS string that you're passing the app.set, that's specific to Express. You could rename the variable HBS something else.
Let's find out. I'm going to call this banana hammock, and I'll call this banana hammock. You know, I'm actually not sure. I haven't done this before. Let's see if this works. Yep, still works. Okay, cool. So now I want you guys to catch up to this point. So again, just going up to the next stop. Make sure you start off with npm install save express handlebars, or you're going to have a bad time. So you need to start off with this command right here.
Oh, so that gives us the gem for the express handle?
Not the gem, but same concept.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's how, when you did a console log for HBS, that's how it pulled up that stuff is default.
Mm-hmm.